going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of J&D Sports Talk. Today I'm going to be giving you my NFL Week 7 reactions. It was a pretty good week of football, besides a couple of things, but always a good week of football in the NFL. A lot of good games, a lot of close games. I did pretty good this week for the most part. Got some games wrong, but I did pretty good. But without further ado, let's get into my NFL Week 7 reactions. First off, I just want to say before I start this video, congratulations to my Los Angeles Dodgers on making the 2024 World Series. I'm very excited. I hope we bring it home, and go Dodgers. Let's go. Going on to Thursday Night Football, we got the Broncos going to New Orleans to take on the Saints in a one-sided game. Denver got the win 33-10. This game a few days ago, Javonte Williams got 2 touchdowns. Bo Nix, it wasn't really a good game by either quarterback for the most part. Troy Franklin led Denver in receiving with 50 yards. Bo Nix threw for 164. Denver's running game was a lot better than what it's been all season in this game. And Justin Strnad led Denver in tackles with 9. Runner-up was Levi Wallace and Cody Barton. Will Lutz went 4 for 4 on field goals, so he generated 12 points plus 3 extra points. So a total of 15 points. So if you take 15 from 33, that comes out to be 18. Nope, 17, 18. One of the two, something like that. 70,008 people in attendance, even though most of those left at halftime. But moving on to the Saints side, just a piss-poor, ugly game. Not really anything good they can take away. They didn't have a running game. Cedric Wilson led the team in receiving. He had a touchdown. Yes, I know the Saints they have a lot of injuries right now. Receiver position, Cesar Ruiz, a lot of players hurt. They lost Paulson Adebo in this game. They got a lot of players hurt right now. They got the injury bug, so hopefully all of them recover. And we'll talk about the Niners later, but Brandon Ayuk and Deshaun Watson both suffered season-ending injuries in yesterday's games. Deshaun Watson has an Achilles injury, and Brandon Ayuk has a ACL, MCL knee injury. But Jordan Howden led Saints in tackling on defense. And Blake Grupe went 1 for 1 on field goals. Like I said, 70,008 people at the football game, even though most of those left at halftime due to the score. Good game by Denver here, kind of staying above 500, and not a good game for the Saints. Moving on, we got the game in London between the Jaguars and the Patriots. After the first quarter, this game was pretty one-sided. The Jaguars won 32-16. They improved to 2-5. New England drops to 1-6. And unfortunately, they're not the only team that's 1-6. Drake May, he had an alright game. He threw a lot of passes that should have been picked off. Thrown 2 touchdowns. Patriots' running game was not there at all. Stevenson had 7 carries, 18 yards. Hunter Henry led the team in receiving with 8 catches, 92 yards. And Jermichael Hasty had a touchdown, and KJ Osborne had a touchdown for New England. Kyle Duggar led New England in tackles with 11. And Joey Sly, New England's kicker, went 1 for 1 on field goal with 1 extra point. 86,651 people in attendance at Wembley Stadium in London. Not a good game for the Patriots. They had a good first quarter, but after that it got ugly. We all expected this out of the Patriots this season. Next up, we got Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence had a pretty good game. 193 yards, a touchdown, quarterback rating of 121. Tank Bigsby had a really good game on the ground. 26 carries, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Brian Thomas, who's arguably been the best rookie receiver so far this season, had 5 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown. Devin Lloyd led Jacksonville in tackles with 11, and Cam Little went 1 for 1 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points. So, Jaguars, good game from them, I guess, kind of getting back on track. That kind of probably saved Doug Peterson's job, at least for the meantime. I feel like, he's going to be the next coach fired, but we will definitely see. But wasn't as bad as the London game as everyone was anticipating. Next up, we got the Titans going to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Titans are 1-5. The Bills are 5-2. We all know how the Bills are. Tennessee struggled in this one. For the 1 o'clock games, I had Red Zone on. I watched Thursday Night Football, London. I had Red Zone on for 1 o'clock games. I watched the Panthers game, then the rest of the Chiefs and Niners. Then I watched the whole Sunday Night Football. Now I'm going to watch Ravens and Bucks, and then probably the ending of Chargers and Cardinals. But Mason Rudolph did not seem to have a good game. He had a 74 passer rating, a touchdown, and an interception. Tony Pollard didn't do much on the ground. 16 carries, 61 yards. Tennessee's leading receiver was, guess who? Chig Akwanwu, the tight end. 4 catches for 50 yards. And Ness Westbrook Ikeen had the touchdown. Mason Rudolph fumbled the football 3 times. Only 1 of those were lost. Kenneth Murray Jr. led Tennessee in tackles with 7, the former Charger. And Nick Folk went 1 for 1 on field goals for Tennessee. So Tennessee only had 1 touchdown by Nick and a field goal, and that was about it. Tennessee had the lead for a little bit, but 70,842 people in attendance, most of those Bills fans, and that Bills team will come back and get you. Josh Allen had a good game, over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ray Davis had a couple carries, 41 yards and a touchdown. James Cook also had a touchdown in the run game. Keon Coleman had a really good game, 4 catches, 125 yards. Amari Cooper on his first catch as a Buffalo Bill is his first touchdown as a Buffalo Bill on a play to shout out by Keon Coleman because he did not know the play. But Ty Johnson also had the receiving touchdown for Buffalo. So all 3 of Buffalo's running backs had a touchdown this game. Ray Davis, James Cook, and Ty Johnson. Good job, Buffalo running backs. And for the defense side of the ball, Darius Williams led the team in tackles with 10, and the runner-up was Terrell Bernard. Damar Hamlin had another interception. I didn't see this till now. His second one this season, I'm pretty sure. But Tyler Bass, 2 for 2 on field goals, who hasn't been playing all well. Hits 2 field goals, and for 4 for 4 on extra points. Good game by Buffalo. Another bad game by Tennessee. Will we potentially see, a few small changes in Tennessee? But meanwhile, for Buffalo, we all know how the Bills are, and they're going to have to keep playing these good games. All right, next up, we got one of the best games of the week, which came down to a last-second field goal by Brandon McManus. Packers get the win 24-22. C.J. Stroud didn't have a great game, but the line for Houston was really bad, and they have been pretty bad so far this season. C.J. Stroud with only 10 completions, 58 passer rating. Like I said, a lot of it's not his fault. Joe Mixon, 25 carries, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Obviously led Houston in rushing. And Stephon Diggs led Houston receiving in yardage. Dalton Schultz with a catch for 28 yards. Diggs had the most catches, but no touchdowns there. And for Houston's defense, Neville Hewitt led the team in tackles with 9. Kamari Fairbairn went 3 for 3 on field goals with an extra point, generated 10 points. So without Fairbairn, field goals, this game would have been 13-24, with two touchdowns coming from Joe Mixon. 78,197 here in Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, to watch the Packers get a good win over the Texans. Jordan Love threw 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Josh Jacobs led Green Bay in rushing, 12 carries, 76 yards. And Romeo Doubs led Green Bay in receiving again for 8 catches, 94 yards. Dontavian Wicks and Tucker Kraft and Josh Jacobs all had receiving touchdowns. Josh Jacobs' receiving touchdown was the first of his career. Evan Williams led Green Bay defense in tackles with 9. Runner-up was Eric Wilson. And Brandon McManus went 1 for 1 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points. Pretty good game here. Came down to the last second field goal. Good drive by Green Bay to set up McManus in position and for him to make the kick to win it. But Green Bay is going to take a close one in this game. 24-22. Let me kind of say what games I got right so far. I got Thursday night right. I got London wrong. I got the Bills right and the Packers right. Next up, we got a one-sided game. The Giants' offense was pretty bad in the first half, historically bad. Daniel Jones was sacked 5 times after one half of football, and there was just a lot of. This game was not great, and Eagles, started scoring, which made the game better than what it really at least started out to be. But Jalen Hurts, 10 for 14, a touchdown. But Saquon Barkley in his first game against his former team puts up one of his highest career yardage, 17 carries, 176 yards, averaging 10.4 yards a carry and a touchdown. Mr. Saquon against his former team. A.J. Brown had a touchdown in the receiving, and on Philly's defense, Nakobe Dean led the team in tackles with 11. Daniel Jones didn't throw any picks in this game, but Jake Elliott didn't attempt a field goal for 4 and extra points. Like I said, Daniel Jones, he finished under 100 yards. Tyrone Tracy and Giants' run game didn't get anything really going. Malik Neighbors led the Giants in receiving with 4 catches, 41 yards, 10.3 average a catch. And Wan'Dale Robinson had 6 catches, 23 yards. Tyler Nubin, the safety, I believe, from Minnesota, led the Giants in tackles with 9. And Greg Joseph went 1 for 1 on field goals from 38 yards. And obviously the Giants didn't score a touchdown, so there was no extra points attempted. Eagles are mid and Giants are terrible. That's really what happened in this game. Mid versus terrible. And 82,778 people witnessed it in person. Next up, we got another one of the best games of the week. I got this one right. Detroit going to Minnesota to take the win, 31-29. Jake Bates, I'm pretty sure his name is, the rookie, gets the late field goal on the last play of the game to win it. Detroit scored 21 points in the second quarter. It looked like all Detroit, then Minnesota started fighting back, but ultimately Detroit held their ground on the last play of the game. Jared Goff has been playing really good football. He had 2 touchdowns, almost 300 yards this game, 140 passer rating, Jahmyr Gibbs had a really good game. 15 carries, 116 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Um, and Amon-Ra St. Brown led the team in receiving. 8 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown. Also with a touchdown is Khalif Raymond. Alex Anzalone led Detroit in tackles with 8. Few runner-ups: Kirby Joseph, Malcolm Rodriguez, and Jack Campbell, a rookie linebacker out of Iowa. Brian Branch got the interception for Detroit. And like I said, Jake Bates, 1 for 1 on field goals from 44 to win the game. 4 for 4 on extra points, too. 66,971 people in attendance to watch this game. Meanwhile, for the Vikings, Sam Darnold, almost 300 yards, a touchdown and a pick, 103 passer rating. On the ground, Aaron Jones, 14 carries, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson led the Vikings in receiving, which he does really good against the Lions for some reason. 7 carries, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Naylor has secretly put together a good season. 4 catches, 76 yards. Ivan Pace Jr. led the team in tackles with 10. And Will Reichard went 3 for 3 on field goals. Longest one was 57. 2 for 2 on extra points. Really good game. It looked like, all Minnesota at the start. And then Detroit started coming back, put up a really good second quarter, and kicked the game-winning field goal. Shout out to the rookie, and a good win for Detroit there. Next up, we got a game that I wasn't expecting, but Seattle goes Atlanta, gets a dominant win, 34-14. Geno Smith had a good game. He hasn't had a bad season so far. He had 207 yards with 2 touchdowns. JSN, Jackson Smith Njigba, went 1 for 1, 35 yards. That was a good pass to DK Metcalf. Kenneth Walker, 14 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Led Seattle in rushing. And DK Metcalf, 4 catches, 99 yards, and a touchdown. That touchdown was, I believe, before the end of the half, which was a good one. Kobe Bryant led Seattle's defense in tackles with 11. And Julian Love and Kobe Bryant also got interceptions for the Seattle's defense. Jason Myers went 2 for 2 on field goals. Longest was 59. 4 for 4 on extra points. And there were 70,691 people in attendance. Moving on to Atlanta side. Kirk Cousins, 232 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. 72 passer rating. They didn't show this game much on Red Zone. Bijan Robinson had a really good game for what I've seen. 21 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. He was also pretty effective, a little effective in the passing game. But Kyle Pitts ultimately led Atlanta in receiving with 7 catches, 65 yards. Drake London had the touchdown. And Caden Ellis led the team in tackles with 9. Younghoe Koo went 0 for 1 on field goals. Stay sucking. Like I said, I wasn't expecting this game. I got this game wrong. I told you guys Seattle could win it, but I didn't think they'd come out and do this. So, not a good game by Atlanta. Not ideal. They'll move on from it. They are 4-3 now as long as Seattle. It's going to be interesting to see if Seattle can find themselves a playoff spot as long as Atlanta. But good game by Seattle here. Good road win, and we're going to have to see how they build from this victory. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Cleveland Browns in a weird game. Deshaun Watson is out for the season after suffering an Achilles injury in this game. But Joe Burrow had another good game, 181 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not much of a run game at all for Cincinnati. And T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, the duo, scored touchdowns. Jermaine Pratt led the team in tackles with 13. Runner-up was Logan Wilson with 10. And Charlie Jones took the opening kickoff all the way for the touchdown, a 100-yard return for Charlie Jones. He only got one kick return, 100 yards, one touchdown. That's a great stat line to have. Evan McPherson 0 for 1 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points. Huntington Bank Field, 68,143 people in attendance. Moving on to the Brown side here, they had 3 quarterbacks play. Nick Chubb got a touchdown in his game back. And Cedric Tillman led the team in receiving. David Njoku had a touchdown for Cleveland. Not much going on here with Cleveland, as it has been all year. They dropped now to 1-6. And unfortunately, breaking news: Braxton Berrios, Dolphins receiver, tore his ACL. Speedy recovery there for Mr. Berrios. But JOK led Cleveland's defense in tackles with 7, and Cleveland didn't generate any interceptions. And Dustin Hopkins went 0 for 1 on field goals, 7 punts for Cleveland. Not a good game for Cleveland. Not a good game for their offense. You know, we all know the story with Cleveland. We all know it, so we don't need to sound like a broken record. But like I said, not a good game for Cleveland. And Cincinnati, you know, they're grabbing a couple wins here. They won 3 of their last 4. Next up, we got the last 1 o'clock game of Week 7. It's the Miami Dolphins taking on the Indianapolis Colts. This game seemed crappy. Not much going on here. Tua Tagovailoa will be back this week, more than likely. I believe they will play the Cardinals when he comes back. But Tyler Huntley threw a touchdown before he went out. Then Tim Boyle, who somehow has a job in the NFL, came in. Didn't know it was 4th down, threw the ball away. Or at least you got to think that was a throwaway. But Devin Achane led Miami in rushing, 15 carries, 77 yards. Raheem Mostert right behind him, 11 and 50. Jonnu Smith led Miami in receiving with 7 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. And Jordan Poyer, the former Bill, led Miami's defensive tackles with 8. For kicking, Jason Sanders went 1 for 2, 1 for 1 on extra points. His longest field goal was from 33. 66,299 people in attendance for this game. Moving on to the Colts side. Not good. Not good game from Anthony Richardson. I don't care what you say. 129 yards, only 10 completions. He had like 4 at halftime or something. He led the team in rushing, but that's not his job. He had more carries than completions. Anthony Richardson had this game. Right behind him, Tyler Goodson, 14 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown. And Michael Pittman led the Colts team in receiving with 3 catches, 63 yards. Anthony Richardson turned the ball over with a fumble. Grant Stewart led Colts defense in tackles with 19. Runner-up was Zaire Franklin with 16. Good tackle. 2 tackle monsters there. Matt Gay went 3 for 3 on field goals. His longest was 52 and 1 for 1 on extra points. Colts punted the ball 7 times. You know, it didn't really seem like a good game. Not really any offense by either team. Not good quarterback play. Just, you know, wasn't a good game at all. But, you know, hopefully the Colts keep building off these. And for the Dolphins, you got to just really hope when Tua comes back, you guys get a spark with some momentum. All right, next up, we got Carolina losing 40-7 against the Commanders. Very ugly game from the Panthers. Very bad pick 6 in the beginning by Dalton. And then just a huge miscommunication with Deontay Johnson to give another pick. And our defense, a lot of injuries. Only one starter in the front 7. Did not stop the run or anything like that, obviously, with 40 points. But not a good game here. There's not really much I'm going to say. I tweet not you know what I mean. It's just not really much to say. We didn't have a good game. Got our butts kicked. Just gonna have to kind of learn from it and get better and bounce back against the Broncos. Andy Dalton did not have a good game. He threw 2 picks. Chuba Hubbard had an alright game, 17 carries, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Ja'Tavion Sanders led the team in receiving with 6 catches, 61 yards. Charles Smith-Wade, the rookie corner, led the team in tackles with 8. Pinheiro, obviously 1 for 1, an extra point. 5 punts for Carolina. It just wasn't a good game. Not a good game at all. We got to be better. We got to play better. Got to kind of look at what went wrong, especially early on in the game. Learn from it and bounce back next week. Next up, we got the Raiders going to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. 15-20 score here. Rams got the 5-point win. Gardner Minshew, unfortunately, is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a thumb injury. He threw 3 picks in this game before being benched. No, I reversed that. Aiden O'Connell got hurt. Then Gardner Minshew threw 3 picks in this game. Ugly offense for the Raiders. Only thing that was really decent besides Brock Bowers was Alexander Mattison, 23 carries, 92 yards. But Brock Bowers, even though his team is straight butt, he's putting together, a good season, good rookie season. He's going to be a beast in the league. 10 catches, 93 yards. Other than that, not much. Isaiah Pola-Mao led the team in tackles with 7, and Nate Hobbs had an interception for Las Vegas. Daniel Carlson went 5 for 5 on field goals. Oh, so they didn't score a touchdown. That was all field goals. Wow. 73,267 people in attendance. Meanwhile, for the Rams, Stafford had a pick, not a great game. Kyren Williams, 21 carries, 76 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Johnson led the team in receiving, 4 catches, 57 yards. Right behind him was Tutu Atwell, and Quentin Lake led the Rams team and Troy Reeder in tackles with 9. Jalen McLaughlin and Kobe Durant got interceptions. Jalen got 2 for the Rams, and Joshua Carty went 0 for 1 on field goals. Not a good game for the Raiders offense. Their defense kept them in it. Rams didn't have the most prettiest game, but they got the job done, and the Raiders just not a really good football team right now. Rams improved to 2-4. Raiders dropped to 2-5. Next up, we got the Chiefs and the Niners. Chiefs improved to 6-0, even though Mahomes hasn't been playing that great. Niners dropped to 3-4. They lose Brandon Ayuk for the season. And just not a good game. Brock Purdy played terrible. 3 interceptions, 36 passer rating. Jordan Mason, 14 carries, 58 yards. George Kittle led the team in receiving with 6 catches, 92 yards. And Malik Mustafa led the Niners in tackles with 12. Right behind him was Fred Warner and Diamador Lenore. Trent Williams did get ejected from this game for throwing a punch. And Andres Carlson went 2 for 2 on field goals. His long was 55. So Niners got 2 touchdowns. They were both by Brock Purdy running. Did not expect that. Mahomes had 2 picks, no touchdowns, 44 passer rating. Kareem Hunt had 2 touchdowns, 22 carries, 78 yards. And Patrick Mahomes and Mecole Hardman both had rushing touchdowns. Leading the team in receiving was Noah Gray with 4 catches, 66 yards. Justin Reed had 9 total tackles. Justin Reed, Christian, Roland Wallace, and Jaden Hicks all 3 had interceptions for the Chiefs. Harrison Butker, 4 for 4 on extra points. 71,309 people in attendance. This game seemed all right. I mean, just not really good quarterback play. Niners, like I said, don't look like the team that was in the Super Bowl. Injuries or not, and the Chiefs, even though they are 6-0, they have not been playing the bestest football. Next up, we got Sunday Night Football between the 2-5 Jets and the 5-2 Steelers. Steelers caught a lot of controversy this week for starting Russell Wilson over Justin Fields, even though Fields got him to a 4-2 start. Turns out Steelers are probably better with Wilson, as they proved it with 37 points. Jets showed again they don't have a culture. It doesn't matter how much stars they have. They don't have a damn culture. They don't play as a team. That showed. Rodgers, 2 picks. Breece Hall, not really, a run game. Breece Hall had over 100 receiving yards. Jamie Sherwood led the team in tackles, and Greg Zuerlein went 0 for 1 on field goals. Meanwhile, for the Steelers, Russell Wilson had almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 109 rating. Najee Harris and Russell Wilson had a touchdown on the ground, and George Pickens on 5 catches. Had really good catches in this game, by the way. 111 yards and a touchdown. Peyton Wilson led the team in tackles with 10. And I want to give a shout out to Beanie Bishop, the rookie. His first 2 career interceptions were both off Aaron Rodgers. Good game by Beanie, the rookie. Chris Boswell was 3 for 3 on field goals, 4 for 4 on extra points. 66,956 people in attendance. So, not a good game for the Jets. Like I said, it doesn't matter how many stars you have. They don't have a culture. They don't play as a team so far this season. Meanwhile, a good home win for the Steelers. Guys, moving on, we got the last 2 games of the week. We got the Baltimore Ravens going to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Ravens won this game 41-31. Ravens improved to 5-2. Bucks dropped to 4-3. Chris Godwin got hurt in this game. He's unfortunately going to be out for the season. And Mike Evans is going to be out for at least 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. For the Ravens, Lamar and Derrick Henry, that duo did really good. Lamar had 5 incompletions and 5 touchdowns. So he had the same amount of touchdowns as incompletions. 158.1 passer rating. And Derrick Henry had an 80-yard run. And also 15 carries, 169 yards. Lamar did pretty good on the ground too. Rashad Bateman led the team in receiving with a touchdown, 4 catches, 121 yards. Justice Hill also caught a touchdown, and Mark Andrews caught 2, and Derrick Henry also caught a touchdown. Roquan Smith led Baltimore in tackling with 18. The runner-up was the safety Kyle Hamilton. Marlon Humphrey had 2 interceptions on Baker in the first half. And Justin Tucker went 2 for 2 on field goals, 5 for 5 on extra points. 64,828 people in attendance at Raymond James Stadium. Meanwhile, for the Bucks, Baker, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 370 yards. Rashad White didn't get going much on the ground. Bucky Irving had a touchdown. Kadine, 8 catches, 100 yards. He was their leading receiver. Rashad White had 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans had a touchdown on 1 catch for 25. And Godwin had a pretty good game, too, as long as Bucky Irving in the receiving game. Antoine Woodfield Jr., the safety, led Tampa Bay in tackles. And Tampa Bay didn't generate any interceptions. Chase McLaughlin went 1 for 2 on field goals with 2 for 2 on extra points. This was a good game. It was all Ravens for a while, and then Tampa Bay started creeping up, making a comeback. But Ravens ultimately closed it out. Lamar had a really good game. Couple injuries for the Bucks, and Derrick Henry also had a good game. I didn't really see much of this game. It started an hour after the Ravens and Bucks game. But it didn't seem like that great of a game. The Chargers lost to the Cardinals 15-17. Herbert had a really good game. He had some really good throws that should have been caught, Chargers didn't get a single touchdown. It was all field goals. Chargers let Justin Herbert down, especially the people around him. But Will Disley led the Chargers in receiving, 8 catches, 81 yards. Jalen Reagor and Teair Tart fumbled the ball. Well, I've seen a little bit of this game and the highlights. There was probably more lowlights than highlights, but Derwin James Jr. led the Chargers team in tackles, no surprise there. He's a really good player. And Teair Tart had an interception off Kyler Murray. Cameron Dicker, as the score shows, went 5 for 5 on field goals. His long was 59. 64,357 people in attendance for this game. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray had a touchdown and an interception. James Conner had 19 carries, 101 yards. Kyler ran a good touchdown in from 44. James Conner also led them in receiving with 2 catches, 51 yards, as long as Trey McBride for 5 catches, 51 yards. Kaiser White led Arizona in tackles with 10. Runner-up was Max Melton. And Chad Ryland went 1 for 1 on field goals. His long was 32, 2 for 2 on extra points. This didn't seem that great of a game, kind of low scoring, but, Cardinals got the win. They've been playing decent this season, and the Chargers offense failed Herbert yet again. That's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please check out our TikTok and Twitter at J&D Sports Talk, and subscribe, follow. Let us know what you want to see in the future videos, and I will see you guys in the next episode.